Yeah. Excellent. Reporting. Yeah. Call meeting to order at 8:05. And we have a quorum. We have Colin, Walbert, Fulton, Bell, and Rashid. I know Amy will not be calling in, but I did speak to her before the meeting, and I have not heard from Chen or Mike more on the Mike. Also attending non-voting members, Clint Tiger Man, John DiFederico, Joe Zagareski, Tom Turrentine, thank you, Tom, James Road, and Brian Hughes. Am I missing anyone? Everyone here. Any public comment, Joe? No public comments. Thank you. Minutes. You've had one improvement to the minutes from Penny. Do you want to repeat that, Penny?
I would just add in the comment about the regional training center that we want to, those plans are being developed by the town.
Understand, everyone get that? Do any other improvements or modifications to the minutes? Motion to approve the minutes. Jim, second by Penny, all in favor? General business. Brian, do you want to start with our update?
Sure. Good morning. I thought I'd give everybody an update as to what we've done since the last time we met. We did have, I felt was a successful meeting with Kama, the interior design consultant with the police department. And that meeting took place just to start to get concepts for finishes. They are going back now based on that meeting to fine tune finish selections, and then we'll be coming back at a later date to be determined to start to show color selections. And I'll inform everybody of that meeting prior to it happening, so anybody who's interested can attend, or we can try to schedule that to a convenient time that you want to be there. But I do see that happening sometime in March. The month of March will also start our permitting process for the project through the town. And
Hey, Brian, could we, does it have to be a separate meeting, or could you bring the selections to a building committee meeting? I know we've done that in the past. That might not, in other committees, that might not work for you.
I could do anything you want, Penny. That's fine. If the whole committee wants to be a part of that, that's fine.
If they're gonna debate it, the smaller group is probably a better way to start and bring the results to the committee. You agree with that, Penny?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to, if you do it, just have a Zoom option, that's all.
Great.
Speaking for all men that have gone sofa shopping with only one other interested party.
We don't need
No.
No, exactly. Just there.
The only thing I would tell you, because I'm not a decorator, is we do want to take a look at it, because that is one of the things you get so many comments on from the public when a project is done. So it's not necessarily to change anything, but just to make certain that, like, when we look at it, we think, oh yeah, this is New Canaan, this is what we want. I got more comments about the library rug at the high school than kind of any other thing.
The committee get a chance to look at it.
Yeah, one thing we know for sure, half the people were saying we were too chintzy with the chair, another half will say we spent too much on the chair. So whatever we choose, as long as we get the criticism from both sides, then we know we did our job.
Right.
We will coordinate that, make sure we have everybody that's interested there and the format. So we'll be sensitive to that. As I said, March will start the permitting process. We have already submitted to the DOT. They call it the encroachment permit, which is a curb cut application. We had that submitted last week. So that starts the process with DOT to review the plans and concepts for the additional curb cut. We are submitting to planning and zoning in time for their March 28th meeting. So we will have plans submitted. We're anticipating that to take that approval process to take at least a couple months through planning and zoning. They will accept the application on March 28th. And then we're in queue for their review. So that's
Question.
happening.
Do you think anyone from the building committee should be at that P and Z meeting on the 28th? Tiger or Joe?
I think it would be helpful just to show support. You know, we'll be there, you know, to help walk it through, but it would be, you know, they'll look to see if you're there, you know, and you might not have to answer a question, but just to show support, that would be a good idea.
Gotcha, thank you. Sorry, Ryan.
We've also been spending time looking at the Locust Avenue property. And I know that this is a project that is probably not directly through the building committee, but I thought I'd give you an update on what we've been spending our time doing. We have plans now, existing plans drawn of Locust Avenue, and we have proposed plans for Locust Avenue. Those plans have been reviewed by the police department. They feel it's a suitable solution. And I'm glad to say it's very minimal work that has to be done to make Locust Avenue work for the police department. So I've been talking with Joe about the architectural effort to get that completed. There are a couple aspects of this because it's not a town-owned building that the tenant probably would have to be aware of what's being planned because there's some exterior improvements, a door opening, for instance. So architecturally, I think it's going to derive a pretty straightforward and pretty simple move. I think the thing that's going to be a little bit more complicated would be the furniture. And that's something that we don't have an idea on yet. And talking with Joe, it's a coordination of what is the Board of Ed possibly going to leave, going to take, what is the police department going to move? Will it work? Will it fit? What's moving? What's being thrown away? So there's a whole process of coordinating what's coming out of Locust Avenue, what's going into Locust Avenue to make this plan work. And that's something that's still to be determined. But I think we'll continue to work with engineering and the town and the police department to answer those in the next coming months as we kind of work on the architectural solution and get that defined. And we can work with the town to come up with estimates on how much that would be. But while the plans are being developed, I think there's also an effort to keep those plans kind of not in the public eye. So we're not going to present them on this format. A couple people have those plans. So I just wanted to give you an update on how that's progressing and where that is.
Will the town have to, after the police has moved out, you know, if they're staying at Locust, will we have to bring the building back to what it was originally? Will we have to do some more construction afterwards?
That's all between the town and the owner of the building. It's all part of the lease.
Typically, we'd have to restore anything to the way it was, unless it's an improvement they like. So,
So when it's supposed to be up to the owner.
we'll submit the plans once they're developed to the owner for approval. And then we'll also talk to them at that time, whether they're gonna want us to restore it back to what it was previously.
My understanding, Kevin, is this owner has been very good working to work with.
Yeah.
Very, very minimal.
And it may be this new doors.
Yeah.
Don't you have to also bring use of the building to P and Z?
Who's gonna have those
Yes.
next question? Yeah. So this is another P and Z.
Yeah, and there was a question about whether we needed to or not. Their initial position was yes, we did. But it is a municipal to a municipal use, so there might not be a requirement.
Very not look at thought. You're saying the board that is municipal use?
Yes. But that might be a stretch. So we'll do whatever the planning and zoning, whatever they would like us to do.
The
And
advantage of having a P and Z is that the public gets an opportunity to say something. Even if, you know, the balls are, you know, the wheels are in motion, there's nothing really that we want to do to slow it down. And I don't think there's much they can do to slow it down. But sometimes people need an opportunity to say, I'm worried about traffic, I'm worried about Chinese musical lessons, or forestry, or, you know, whatever it is they want to comment on, you know, that could be a nice venue for them to do that.
P and Z will probably be concerned about where the police cars are.
Yeah.
Parking, kind of,
Yeah,
what you're doing outside the buildings.
yeah.
That was their original comment when I did the 824. Their comments were not about the fit out of the building per se, even though they wanted to see a little bit of the fit out. They were more concerned about what we were doing to the exterior of the building and then where the parking was going to be, how we were going to service all the needs of the parking for a police department. Those are their two concerns at the time.
Yeah, that's a very appropriate question. It's something that, you know, we should have, you know, the town should have the opportunity, we should have the opportunity to state the plan, say, well, this is the best plan. And, you know, hopefully have people agree.
So, Brian, I was thinking that you probably don't want to present a lot of this, the changes in public session for security reasons, but just so that we on the building committee sort of understand the scope of the project, maybe we could have a short presentation or discussion of it at the next meeting and another executive session. I mean, I want to keep it all confidential, but just if people say, what are you doing? So we have a little bit of an idea.
Penny, can I make a suggestion? I can just email you all the plans. I just didn't want to have them on YouTube world, basically. So that I'm not
Okay.
that-
Okay,
You are,
Well, if they are email, just keep it confidential.
right.
Yeah.
We just wanted to restrict how much it got into the public.
sure.
And is there anything new in the world of Board of Ed, Penny, and the build out or what's going on there? You newspaper?
No, I mean, I think I can check on the schedule, but I think we're, you know, guns blazing ahead, moving forward with the move to 220 Elm. So it
Board
just
of
a question that,
Selectmen- Board of Selectmen approved the contract Tuesday. And Bill has a meeting with the contractor already to go forward with the fit out. They're actually gonna, you know, start their demo work very shortly. And they're looking at a June timeframe, somewhere around there to be ready for the BOE to come in. You know,
Right.
mid-June.
and I think, I don't know what the plans are for what we're taking and what we're buying new. But somebody does. So that should be something we don't have to wait till June to find out. I mean, Brian, somebody at Brian Lutzy and Brian Humes could talk about that, or Brian Lutzy could get that right person for you to talk to, Brian.
You have all your furniture from South Avenue, move over. Don't you?
It depends what's left there and what,
Yeah, but I think they're taking the search.
okay.
They have more than enough stuff. Stuff that won't fit into
There. With the tape.
So I have had initial conversations with Bill Osman about, you know, what's gonna stay, what's gonna fit. And we have to work that out. We'll work that out with Brian and get a real plan. If we can reutilize, you know, what we can utilize and what we
We're getting
have.
our lockers, we're gonna move our lockers over to the 39 office and use them over there.
Yeah,
I don't think we're gonna bring all the gym equipment, we'll have to put that storage or remove it.
it's more like desk furniture.
Desk furniture, to kind of plot it out and see what we have and where it would fit in the layout that we're developing with Brian.
Right, so Brian will work on that effort. The one thing that he couldn't do at this particular moment is just know what furniture is available, so we're gonna have to do that as part of this process. And one of the things for Brian, I'd like to, I know it's not necessarily part of the building committee's effort for the temporary move. But there was a $75,000 line item for Humes in our last budget. Not that saying it's 75, but I would like to be able to negotiate with Brian and use those funds to fund that particular, his effort for the furniture in the fit out. Because that was not included it was never included in the original.
We did that, just in sort of the contingency, knowing that there would be future things coming, and it's not 100% dedicated to that, but whatever we need.
Okay, so I don't know if we needed to
So
vote on
Brian,
that.
I need a proposal, for whatever, what funds you need for the focus.
Right, Brian's prepared to submit a proposal. He was just waiting on that one component. It's really have a better idea of his efforts as it relates to the furniture.
Got it. Okay, back to the building.
Getting back to the police department, the drawings are being developed. All of our consultants are actively putting their scopes together. We did have our site planner down to the site yesterday, taking more photographs. We are putting together another set for cost estimating purposes. And that's gonna go to Gene, and Gene can forward that to the construction manager for a cost estimate. And we gave everybody the date of tomorrow to give us their latest efforts. So we will put together another set. We're just gonna call this the cost estimating set, dated February 24th, and transfer that for the construction manager and the project manager to review. We did get feedback from a couple people about comments using precast plank, for instance. We're taking that into consideration. We have changed some structural concepts since we gave you the last set in January. So some of that structural information has been modified from January to today. And we have reduced the amount of precast concrete that was originally being contemplated for the project. So I think we're going in the direction that the construction manager had suggested, but we'd like to have more conversations with the construction manager and the OPM to see that constructability is reviewed, and we are putting a project together that everybody feels is the appropriate project. So that February 24th set we'll be able to make available to everybody on the committee also. So we'll have a way to get that to everybody.
Ryan, just for the people that were not there, we had a discussion with the CM. They didn't, in most cases, they didn't really like the blank and block construction technique. Unknown to us, by that time, Ryan, the limit in the construction engineer had moved it down to just the first floor. And now I've got to look at it, it's eliminating the block and plank, we're going to keep the block, take out the plank and just use steel, poured steel and concrete for all 3 floors on the addition. So I took a look at that as an alternative.
And that's my update.
Any other questions, Brian? Gene, before we go into executive session to talk about construction manager selection, did you have an update or anything else you wanted to add to the group here?
Just that Joe and I are working on, and I think we'll have a discussion today about the commissioning agent. So a dialogue about that would be useful. I don't know if Joe, if you want to talk about it now or wait.
I think we should, yeah, we can talk about it now. Joe, what did you?
So it became apparent that everyone was in favor of hiring a commissioning agent.
Right, the 3 the construction managers that we interviewed all mentioned it as something we should do. The people in our professional staff here as a town believes it's something we should do.
The selection committee thought
It's another big thing to do.
So I'd like to either one, have Gene negotiate with someone that's been used on several projects, one being Gene, can you mention the projects that they worked on recently?
The company that I reached out to is the same company that we used over at the Sachs Middle School, IES, Rick Bielecki. And he's also worked with Brian on a police station renovation. I forget the town it was in, Brian. Do you remember?
Yeah, they're currently working with us on Wallingford Police Department.
Wallingford, yep.
So the effort, we expect the effort to be around $35,000 effort. So there's two ways we can approach it. We can either negotiate with the person and we know their unit rates, they are professional service, so, or we can go out to bid, and if we go out to bid, there was an alternate in SLAM's original proposal. It was somewhere around $6,000 to go out to bid, and then you got to create documents, go out to bid. So for the $35,000 effort to go out to bid will cost us about $6,000 and some time. So I think we would want to negotiate. So it's one of the everyone's buying, but that would be an acceptable approach.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good. Do we need a formal vote on that, or we just have the minutes reflect the sense of the committee that, you know, we want to commission an agent. We believe a roughly $35,000 expenditure is something that provides tremendous value for the community. All right, perfect. Yep, so we'll just have the minutes reflected.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and just, I wanted to get Brian's opinion on IES. You good with them, working with them?
I've known the staff at IES for 20+ years. In addition to Wallingford, they're currently working with us on projects in Cheshire and projects in Berlin. So I've had a long-standing relationship with IES and I recommend them.
Okay. All right, so I will reach out to them, develop a scope of work. I'll pass it on to you, Brian, too, just so you can understand what they're providing. Have your engineers look at it as well, and then I'll wrap it up and get a formal quote from them that we'll present to the committee.
And Gene, can you just break this one into two phases, the pre-construction, just because we have a very clean break right now between pre-construction and construction costs?
Yeah, I can do that. Yep.
They'll be putting together some specifications for the project. That'll be the first effort, and the second effort basically comes at the end of the project. So
Most of the line of companies come to the end.
yes.
Yes. Yep, I can do that.
Anything else, Gene?
Not, yeah, in this session, yeah, nothing else for me.
Okay, perfect. Agenda calls, next steps, on the agenda right now. We can move that back to after we come out of executive session. That might be, that'd be a little better. All right, so why don't we do that? And, so I guess right now we, just need a motion to go into executive session to,
I move that we're going to executive session.
Jim. Second is, Patty, I know that figure in the air is the other person back. And, so let's go into, executive session. I don't know.
Do you have to invite everyone in, or?
You gotta invite everybody. You gotta invite people who are not on the building committee.
So we invite everyone that's not on the building committee that we want to. attend.
Okay.
So I said, it sounds like everyone else dropped off anyway.
Stewart is not.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah. That looks like a good,
So that's what Stewart and Brian.
oh, should we?
Who is 203-324-247-1175?
So we can invite.
1175.
So.
That's Andrew Walsh.
Penny.
Hi, Penny.
That's Andrew Walsh. There you go.
Okay, thanks.
No, Gene's presenting.
The floor is gonna be his, so I'll introduce the discussion for,
Oh, wait.
What?
Hey, record.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that was his. Oh, the top's there.
The top left is still recording.
Yeah.
The upper left, top left. The top left. Pause.
With that talking the bond in and the insurance brought back tonight,
Yeah.
I'm sitting meeting after meeting, talking about Board of Ed healthcare insurance.
We're back in.
Take-
Okay,
I've got one quick question, rather minor question, but Joe, are there any absolute dead stops in terms of our tentative lease? In other words, if it ended up being an 18-month program, will that become a problem for us?
With our lease with 39 Locust?
Yeah.
It's a pretty much open-ended, so we just have to give them notification.
Okay, thank you.
so I move based on the recommendation of the selection committee and coming out of executive session that we have agreed to recommend Turner. And then proceed negotiation with Turner as a construction manager.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And you call the people that we did not choose, or Gene does that?
Gene will do that now that it's official that we're negotiating. with
Oh,
them.
thanks,
So-
Joe. Thanks, Joe.
At least we don't know where you live. Oh, wait, wait, wait.
You can call Turner too, right?
Well, okay, I'll do both. All right.
And consigling.
Yes, yeah, I'll let them all know. I'll let Turner know first and then follow up with the other phone calls.
So I would just say that in our executive session, we were impressed with everyone that submitted,
Yes.
and we couldn't have made a bad choice. So I would just say that.
Yeah, absolutely. These were the three firms have been, were absolutely incredibly strong, and we would have been an excellent hands with all three.
It was a close call.
Yes, yes, it was. Okay, next steps, obviously, discussion with Turner. We have P and Z, things to be, putting on our calendar. I'm still a little unclear with the P and Z issue relative to the move of 39 Locust.
There may or may not be
There'll be, well, Tyler clarified, there was gonna be a need to go in front of them, whether there's an actual item or not. Okay, this is still a question.
Larry, did you already go with the A24?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you already go with the?
I already went for I went for the A24, and that's where the questions arose. They're anticipating seeing the fit out for Locust. And then they had questions on, what we were doing to the exterior of the building. I told them that the only thing we were really doing was the transfer switching. There wasn't much else going to go on. And then they had some real good questions on the parking. They were concerned about where we were going to put everybody for parking. So they're anticipating us going back and for a final approval from P and Z for the move to Locust.
Did they issue a report?
They issued a positive report, yes, on the A24.
So that's done, A24 is done.
I was thinking, I remember second by that.
And as far as our next meeting is currently scheduled for March 9th, we'll keep it on there for now. We'll know better in a little over a week whether we need to keep it on there based on the other things that are happening.
Well, we'll have it on, we'll report back in the 2 days after the report is started.
Yes, exactly. And the other big data point will be once Turner starts sharpening their pencils
Right.
on cost. And we have a meeting of minds there. That'll be the next big discussion point probably.
As Brian just said, he just issued a new set of drawings and Turner needs to get them. So as soon as we can get clear, as soon as Joe and Gene clear with Turner, then we need to get the stuff to Turner.
Yep. Anything else before we adjourn?
Yeah, it's Paul. Where are we on the training facility? Where's the negotiations on that headed? Remember, this is a unit deal, right?
I heard that we do. Kevin, anything new?
Joe, we're waiting for Joe.
Yep.
Joe?
You have a final report? Surely or the.
So we received.
Soil,
No, so we have so we're contracted, we've looked at 2 locations, we've performed the wetlands analysis, we've surveyed each location, there's been 2 test pits. And now we have a civil engineer engaged for the most likely site to perform soil testing. And for septic and stormwater management and fit a well and some on the site. So that's where we are at this particular moment. They were just brought on board. We should have something in the next couple of weeks on that effort.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks, Joe.
Anything else?
To adjourn.
Thank you. Second? All right. Thanks, guys, and I'll let you know about March 9th, whether we'll be meeting there or not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
It really wasn't.